Hello students, myself Rahul Eghare and today we are going to discuss about kingdom Animalia. Okay, so students, let me tell you about the kingdom Animalia basically. See, this is the fourth chapter in the diversity in living world, okay, in the first unit, and this chapter contains around 5 to 6 questions from the NEET exam, okay. So approximate on a general analysis, we know that around 5 to 6 questions comes from the kingdom Animalia, and related to this kingdom Animalia or zoology point of view, if we talk about nearer about the other chapters like structural organization of animal, some portion is related with the kingdom Animalia again. So it will also compile around 3 to 4 questions. So total around 7 to 8 questions will be there from this chapter. Okay. So it is very important as we think about marks point of view. Okay. So this chapter is very important. Let's give the title of this chapter, that is Kingdom Animalia. Okay. So, and see, many students or many people have a misconception that while understanding or while memorizing the names of animal, it's become difficult. No, it's not that difficult. Okay, it is very easy, and I'll tell you how to memorize all these points and how to remember these points. Okay, so let's start with the kingdom Animalia. So kingdom Animalia, it is the fifth kingdom. Okay, it is the fifth kingdom. Okay, in Whittaker's five kingdom classification system and consists of diverse group of living organisms. Now, what do you mean by diverse group of living organisms? Is the organisms or the animals basically here are of different types. Okay, and on the basis of their mode of nutrition, mode of reproduction. Okay, whether they give birth to the direct organisms or they are egg laying. Okay, or the development is direct or indirect on that basis, and then whether they have the proper body plan, okay, or undeveloped, underdeveloped body plan. So depending upon various character, we are classifying the animals. Okay, so here the main classification is based on certain parameters, and these parameters will help us to understand the nature of the animals. Okay, so let's start to classify the animals on the basis of various parameters. Then we'll go on in detail about different phyla which are included under this kingdom Animalia. Then we'll look after certain classes. Okay, so let's start here. So on what basis we are classifying the kingdom Animalia is certain parameters. So what are these parameters? Let's write down the names of these parameters so that we are capable of understanding these parameters. Okay, so first parameter is the habitat. Okay, we can classify the animals on the basis of habitat, means the place where they live. Then second is the level of organization. Level of organization. So in level of organization, we will talk about the what type of body they have, means whether they have cellular level of organization, whether they may have the tissue level of organization. Some animals may also, most of the animals they possess the organ level and the organ system level, but some of them also have the cell level as well as the tissue level of organization. That will be studied under this. Then the body plan. In body plan, we'll be talking about whether they have the complete digestive system, okay, or they have the incomplete digestive system, or body works on the cellular level itself. So on that basis, we are going to classify the animals. Then fourth, that is symmetry. Now symmetry is the point where we can see the structure of an animal which can be divided either into two identical equal halves or many identical equal halves. Okay, when a plane passes through the center of the body. So that is nothing but a symmetry. So symmetrically we have two types basically. If an organism does not show any kind of symmetry, can be called asymmetrical, and an animal which shows the symmetry, okay, which is that is called as symmetrical. In symmetrical also we will talk about the bilateral symmetry, and we'll talk about the radial symmetry. Okay, so these are two different symmetries can be studied here. Then fifth point will be the germ layer. Okay, germ layer. Now germ layers, okay, whether the animal it is made up of two germ layers or whether it is made up of three germ layers. That is, if it is made up of two, then it is called diploblastic, and if it is made up of single germ layer, then it is called, if it is made up of three germ layers, then it is called triploblastic. Okay, then the sixth one is about, yes, so the sixth one is the body cavity. Body cavity, or which is also referred as coelom, okay, or the you may also pronounce as colon. Okay, so coelom is the one which is body cavity. Now here also we will talk about body cavity in detail. The next to that is the segmentation. Okay, segmentation is also been referred as metamerism. In most of the animal we see the body is being divided into various segments. They have segmentation. If we take an example, we can understand by the example of earthworm. Okay, body has been divided into various segments. Okay, so that is segmentation. Even in case of animals or higher animals, we see the animals have internal segmentation. Okay, so our body it is internally divided into vertebrae, right? So these are also segments. So that we will be studying here. So on the basis of certain these parameters, we are going to classify the animals into various types. So let's start with the first parameter, that is the habitat. Okay, so on the basis of habitat, the animals can be classified into two groups. Okay, so on the basis of habitat, how we are classifying the animals into two groups. That means the habitat they have. Okay, so first here we are going to start with the habitat. So on the basis of habitat, there are two basic habitats which can be seen in case of animals. Okay, so the first habitat is the aquatic habitat. Okay, or on the basis of habitat we can understand the aquatic animals, and second is the terrestrial animals. Terrestrial animals. I hope you are getting this. The next, in the aquatic animal, let's discuss about aquatic animal. Now aquatic animals are those which are found in the water. Either it is fresh water, either it is in marine water. Okay, so a number of animals are found in the both fresh water as well as marine water. So here the aquatic animals can be further divided into three main types. Let's see. Okay, so how they are classified or how they are divided, that is on the basis of their occurrence, means in the water where they are formed or where they are occurring. So first is the free floating. Okay, so the first one is the free floating. If we talk about free floating, we can see the zooplanktons. Okay, are the free floating type of organisms. Okay, so here we can take the example of the zooplanktons. Okay, so they are found on the surface of the water. Then second, it is the nectons. So nectons is another group of animals which are found in the water, means which are actually showing the swimming. Okay, how we recognize the aquatic animal? By their activities, that is they are swimming. Okay, in the depth of the water, not in the depth but in the middlemost part of the water. So nectons, that means all fishes. Okay, generally all fishes and other animals also in the water. Then third category under aquatic animal or the aquatic habitat is the benthic. Okay, benthic means those animals or those aquatic animals which are found onto the bottommost layer of the water, means they are on the depth. Okay, that is the benthic word comes from the word called benthos, that means bottommost part of the ocean or bottommost part of the water. Okay, so here you can take an example of the starfish, stonefish, etc. Okay, so here these are the different categories under aquatic habitat or aquatic animals, that is free floating animals are there, then nectons which are found in the middle part which include all fishes, then benthic that includes the starfish which is found at the bottom of the water. Now another here we are going to the next, that is the terrestrial animals. In terrestrial animal what we see, okay, there are different categories of terrestrial animal, and which are those categories? The categories includes the one that is fossorial animals. So fossorial animals are those which shows burrowing activity. Burrowing activity means what? Means they dig the hole within the soil and they live within that holes. Okay, so burrowing animal includes the, here you can write here, these are burrowing animals. So burrowing animal examples you can write the earthworm, then rabbits, okay, and rodents also. You can add rodents. Many more are there. I'm just writing one or two, okay, etc. Then another category under terrestrial animal is the cursorial animals. So cursorial animals are those which shows the fast running. Okay, these are the fast runner animals. Example, cheetah, horse, deer. Okay, so these are the examples which can be taken under this cursorial. So you can write here fast running animals. Fast running animals. Then example, deer, horse, okay, zebra, etc. You can write many more. Okay, so this is the cursorial or the cursorial type of animal. Then third category we have, okay, I'll write here. Okay, so third category is the scansorial. Animals. So scansorial animals are those which crawl on the wall. They crawl on the wall. So the animal which shows crawling movement onto the wall, they are referred as the scansorial type of animals. So here you can take an example of the wall lizard. Okay, even you can take an example of a chameleon, salamander. Okay, so these are also coming under this scansorial type of animals. Then fourth category under terrestrial animals is the arboreal animals. So arboreal animals are those animals which are adapted to live at certain height. Okay, they are not found on the ground level, they are found at certain height. Either they are living on the trees, okay, or they are adapted to fly. We can also add aerial animals under this arboreal. Okay, so let's take an example. Okay, examples are birds, monkeys, okay, or other animals you can take. Okay, squirrel also one of the arboreal animal, okay, which is found at certain height. So this is about the habitat. So in habitat we have two types, which are the aquatic habitat and the terrestrial one. In aquatic we found three different types of animal, which are those free floating, which includes the zooplanktons, then nectons, which includes the all the fishes, okay, and benthic, it includes the animals which are found at the bottom of the sea, that is like starfish, okay. The next, in terrestrial animal we have four different categories, okay, or terrestrial habitat we have four different categories. First one is the fossorial animal. Fossorial animal means what? Those animals which shows the burrowing activity. Second one is the cursorial animal. Those animals which shows the fast running. Okay. Third category is the scansorial animal. The animal which shows crawling movement. Okay, or they crawl onto the wall, such as the wall lizard is there. And arboreal animal which are found on certain height. Okay. So this is according to the habitat that we have classified the animals. Now second parameter we are taking into consideration is the level of organization. Okay. So second parameter that we have to take under consideration is the level of organization. I'll write here. Level of organization. Okay, so according to level of organization, when we talk about animals, of course they are multicellular, right? All animals are multicellular, right? So here we'll talk about the different levels. So first level, it includes the cellular level of organization. So when we talk about animals, they are multicellular. Okay, how the cellular level of organization can be seen in case of animal? Yes, it is seen in case of some animals. Okay, the animals which are found in the ocean, okay, in the water, most probably in the marine water, and some are found in the fresh water also. So these animals, they have the cellular level of organization. That means they are multicellular, but when it comes to the processes like digestion, absorption of the food material, okay, or performing any other metabolic activity within the body, okay, it is under the regulation of their single cell. Okay, so body, it is organized of many cells, but they are working independently. Okay, so that comes under cellular level of organization. Okay, so here you can also write animals are multicellular. Animals are multicellular, but there is no coordination. There is no coordination between these cells. Okay, so the cells, they are working independently. Okay, so there is no coordination between these cells. Now what are the examples of the animal which comes under this category? Are the sponges, okay, or phylum Porifera. Okay, so phylum Porifera includes the sponges, which comes under the cellular level of organization. Okay, that is one of the organization. Second, that is tissue level of organization. So what is tissue? Tissue level of organization. Okay, so what is tissue basically? Tissue is a group of cell which is performing similar functions, right? So when many cells come together, they form the tissue, right? So the animals, some animals, they also possess the tissue level of organization. Okay. So see here, in the first we have seen there is no coordination between the cells. But here in the tissue level of organization, there is a coordination between the cells. Okay. So these cells, when they combine together, they form the tissue. So here we can write animals. Okay, animals are multicellular and show coordination. Coordination between cells. Okay, so when there is a coordination between cells, they form the tissue. Okay, so here we can take an example of the hydra. Actually, the body of hydra is made up of tissues. Okay, so this tissue level of organization is due to the combination of many cells. Okay, and it includes the phylum, Coelenterate. Okay, so here you can see two level of organization, that is the cellular level of organization and the tissue level of organization. Another level of organization is, okay, I'll rub this. That is the third level of organization. Okay, is the organ level of organization. So, which is the third level of organization. Here, animals, they are multicellular again. You write here, animals are multicellular. Animals are multicellular and they show coordination. Okay, they show coordination because here the organisms, okay, or the animals, they are composed of organs. They are consisting of organs to perform their specific function. Let's take an example. In case of humans, we see we have different organs to perform the specific metabolic activity. Like when we talk about digestion of the food material, it is followed by mouth, okay, masticated within the buccal cavity and been transferred into the stomach, where it will be digested and been assimilated by the small intestine, right? So different parts are there, and even pancreas and liver, they help in the process of digestion by releasing essential enzymes. Okay, so here such organs, they are associated with certain functions. In case of cellular level of organization, we have seen only cells are working on this. A single cell is working on all the metabolic activity. In tissue level, tissues are organized to form the or to process the various metabolic activities. In organ level of organization, we see the organs are associated to perform metabolic functions, right? So animals, they are multicellular and they show the coordination between the organs. Okay, okay, and shows coordination between the organs. Okay, and which is also been referred as the division of labor. Okay, that means here different cells, different tissue, they are associated with these organs and they are performing, okay, in a well functioned manner. So here we can also conclude, see there is a organ level of organization. And examples: higher animals. Okay, so here that is the second parameter we have seen, that is level of organization. We have discussed about three different levels: cellular level, tissue level, and organ sorry, organ level of organization. Okay, so these are the different level of organization on what we are classifying the animal. Now the third parameter that we are going to take under consideration is the body plan. Okay, which is most important one. So the third parameter that we are going to discuss is the body plan. So what comes in mind when we talk about body plan? What exactly the body is made up of? Okay, whether it is made up of only cells, whether it is made up of certain tissue. Okay, as we have discussed right now, that is tissue level of organization. Okay, whether it has complete digestive system, whether it has incomplete digestive system. Okay, so body plan. On the basis of body plan, we can also divide the animals into three different types. So the first type here over here is the cell aggregate body plan. Cell aggregate body plan. Okay, so cell aggregate body plan means, see, cell aggregate, that means cells, they are combined together. Many cells combine together, okay, to form the particular animal. But here there is no coordination between the cells, so they are working on their own, right? So that is the cell aggregate body plan. So it is also been referred as the cellular level of organization. Okay, it can be referred as the, or the animals have cellular level of organization so these animals works on their own. Okay, so they are working on their own, means they are independent, like they are not depending upon other cells to combine and to perform the metabolic function. They are performing these functions, okay, on their own. Okay, so that is in this, that is we can see in the cell aggregate body plan. Okay, so here example, again this example is similar to the first that is seen in the level of organization, that is the sponges. Okay, that is the cell aggregate body plan. Second body plan is the, that is blind sac body plan. Blind sac body plan. So what do you mean by blind sac body plan? See, when it comes to the body plan which is blind sac means what? There is just a single opening. Okay, let's take an example. Okay, there is a single opening for ingestion as well as excretion of the food material in such type of body plan. Okay, that means they have incomplete type of digestive system. Okay, so you can write here, in such body plan only one opening is found for ingestion and excretion. That means the alimentary canal. Alimentary canal means what? The passage through which the food is being circulated, right? So this passage is very means what we see, not well developed. Okay, so there is only one opening for ingestion and the excretion of the food material. And which type of organisms are showing such characteristic feature? That is, in case of Hydra we can see such characteristic feature. If we talk about Hydra, okay, just see here, suppose this is the Hydra. Okay, these are the tentacles over here, these tentacles, and this opening, okay, this place can be referred as the blind sac. Blind sac means there is only a single opening through which food is either taken inside and excreted outside. Okay, so there is only single opening over here, which is referred as the blind sac. Okay, are you getting what I am saying? So the animal which possess such type of body plan can be referred as the blind sac body plan. Okay, now next we are moving to the another type of body plan. That is the tube within tube. That is the third type of body plan. Tube within tube. So tube within tube means what? Say, when we talk about alimentary canal, what it comes with? It comes with the mouth. In general, in case of humans we talk, what is there in the alimentary canal? It consists of mouth, then esophagus, it enters into stomach, from stomach it will enter into intestine, and from intestine large intestine. So there is a tube within tube. Okay, we have entire esophagus, okay, which is connected to the intestine. Okay, so esophagus is already a tube which opens into a broad stomach, and again it will enters into the narrow part, that is the tubular part, which is the what we say intestine. Again it opens into the large intestine. So there is a tube within tube type of organization. Okay, so such system, okay, is referred as complete digestive system or tube within tube. Okay, let's see here. We'll draw the example of fish. We'll see by the fish. Okay, so when we talk about, suppose this is a fish. Okay, in this fish you can see at anterior region it has a mouth. This part is the mouth, and this mouth is followed by a tubular structure which comprises the intestine also and has a distal opening. So here, okay, and this distal opening is called as the anus. Okay, this distal opening is called as the anus. So this part is the intestine, which can also be referred as the tube within tube. So such type of body plan is seen in most of the higher animals, including fishes also. So this tube within tube body plan. And when we talk about tube within tube body plan, it is somewhere associated with the blastopore. Okay, so what is blastopore basically? See, in most of the animal, the development, okay, the development of the alimentary canal takes place by the reproduction. Okay, and means after reproduction we form the zygote from the zygotic cells. Okay, so zygotic cells, they form the blastocyst. Okay, so zygote, which is a single cell which forms the many number of cells after a particular cell division. Okay, so this many number of cells, these are referred as the blastula. This can be referred as the zygote, which is a byproduct of a sexual reproduction, that is after fertilization zygote will be formed, and this blastula undergoes differentiation. Okay, undergoes differentiation to form the blastomers. Okay, different blastomers means different cells will be formed, many number of cells will be formed. Okay, and consist of the inner cell mass here in such a way, and it will further undergoes again division. Okay, so let's assume this is the blastomers. Okay, this is the blastomer. Okay, and this blastomer is showing certain invagination. Okay, so here the cells, they start to show the invagination. Okay, so such invaginations can be seen, and these invaginations, okay, will lead to the formation of the alimentary canal. Now this part where we see the invagination, okay, invagination means it is a kind of depression in the embryonic cells. So here during embryonic development, this is a part of embryonic development. Okay, there is a, during embryonic development, the pore which is formed, okay, that pore is referred as blastopore. Okay, and this blastopore, if it forms mouth from this region, okay, if this region is going to form the mouth, then the animals can be called as the protostomes. If this part is going to form the anus, then the animals can be called as the deuterostomes. Deuterostomes. Okay, so this is how we see the development of the alimentary canal, that is from the blastopore. Okay, the blastopore will develop into entire alimentary canal within the animal, and which is also referred as a tube within tube body plan. Are you getting what I am saying? So it's very simple. You see here the blastopore which is here, if it forms the mouth, the animals can be referred as the protostomes, and if it forms the anus, then the animals can be referred as the deuterostomes. Now, what are the examples? Okay, what are the examples of the deuterostomes? So the examples under deuterostomes are phylum Echinodermata, okay, and Chordata, phylum Chordata. And in case of protostomes, except Echinodermata and Chordata, all are included. Okay, so that is how we are classifying the animals. Okay, I hope you are getting this. Now next parameter on the basis of what we are going to classify the animal is the symmetry. Okay, so let's see the symmetrically how we are classifying the animals. Okay, so the next way of classifying the animal is the symmetry. Okay, so the see here, fourth parameter. Now what is symmetry? The symmetry is the way by which we divide the animal into two equal halves. Okay, so symmetry, it is the arrangement of body. Arrangement of body into identical halves. Okay, into identical halves. Okay, that is referred as the symmetry. Now, in animals, we see two different categories under symmetry. Okay, if the animal they don't show any kind of symmetry at all, those animals can be referred as the asymmetric. So there are two different types, that is two different types of animals. The animals which do not show any kind of symmetry are called asymmetrical. Asymmetrical animals, and the animal which shows the symmetry, they are referred as the symmetrical animals. Okay, so in asymmetrical animals, what we see, examples are like amoeba. Example is the amoeba, because Amoeba doesn't have a regular shape, so it is irregular in shape. Okay, so what we cannot consider a kind of symmetry in case of amoeba. But in case of, again, another example under asymmetrical type of animal is the adult snail. Adult snail. See, adult snail, when we talk about adult snail, okay, it is the snail, it is covered by a circular shell, right? And that shell, under that shell, the body is also being circular. So when we cut the body, okay, when we try to cut the body will not be cut into identical halves, okay, through any plane. So such body can also be referred as the asymmetric one. Okay, so here adult snail. Why we are using term adult snail? Because when the snails are in larval form, they show bilateral type of symmetry. Okay, bilateral means when the body is divided into two identical halves. Okay, that is called bilateral symmetry. So asymmetric type of animals are amoeba and the adult snail. In case of symmetrical animals, we have three more categories. Okay, generally we study two categories, that is the bilateral as well as the radial symmetry. But here I am also including one more, that is universal symmetry. Then bilateral, okay, or we'll talk about the radial one. Okay, the radial symmetry, and third one is the bilateral symmetry. Okay, so universal symmetry, here the organisms are ball like, okay, or the animals are ball like. Okay, so if we talk about a ball, okay, see the ball can be divided into two identical equal halves, right? When we pass a plane through the center of its body, the body can be divided into two identical equal halves. Okay, so such type of symmetry is referred as the universal symmetry. Okay, example of such universal symmetry is the wall walks. Okay, the next type of symmetry is the radial symmetry. Now radial symmetry means what? See, suppose there is a circular body, okay, and when you are passing a plane through the center, okay, it will divide the body into two identical equal halves. Again we can pass the plane through the center, okay, four equal halves. Okay, so here you can see when the plane is passing through the center, body is divided into many identical equal halves. Such type of body, okay, generally we see such type of body are flat bodies, okay, and these flat bodies, they show radial type of symmetry, okay, they show the radial type of symmetry. So, and this radial type of symmetry can be of three again more types, that is tetramerous. Okay, tetramerous in the sense when the body, okay, here I am drawing here, suppose this is the body of an animal and which has been divided into four identical equal halves. Okay, so that is called tetra. Tetra means four. Tetramerous type of symmetry. An example that is seen, it is seen in case of jellyfish. Then we have another category here, that is called pentamerous. See, the word itself indicates penta means what? Five. Okay, so when five parts of body are found when the plane passes through the center of the body, okay, such type of organization or such type of symmetry can be referred as the pentamerous type of symmetry or pentamerous radial symmetry. Example, starfish. Finally, we have the hexamerous. Hexamerous means 6 identical equal parts will be formed. So hexamerous, hexa means 6. Okay. In hexamerous, we have the example of sea cucumber. Okay. So you can write sea cucumber. Okay. So that is under radial symmetry. Then finally, bilateral symmetry. Okay. So in bilateral symmetry, what we see the animals, they are divided into two identical equal halves. Okay. Let's take an example of human. If we cut or we make a longitudinal cut, okay, into the body, what we see, the body will be divided into two identical equal halves. That is called as the bilateral type of symmetry. Okay. So it is most probably seen in case of the vertebrates, okay, or the higher animals. So in vertebrates we see bilateral symmetry. Now again it can be further studied on the basis of position. Okay, when we talk about the position in case of two-legged animal, that is the humans, okay, we have different position like anterior position. Anterior and ventral position are similar in case of humans, but in case of other animals, that is four-legged animals, we can see the anterior and ventral regions are two different regions. Okay, anterior means the part where the mouth or the head is present, and ventral part means the part which consists of the belly or the stomach region. Okay, and dorsal part is that which is found on the back side. Okay, and posterior part is that which is found at the anus. So in case of humans, okay, when we talk about bilateral symmetry, okay, it comes with the anterior and ventral side at one place, okay, and dorsal and posterior side at another end. Okay, so in this way we are classifying the animals on the basis of the symmetry. I hope you are getting this. Okay, and in case of bilateral symmetry, you can also include many more vertebrates. Not only humans are included, other vertebrates are also included under bilateral symmetry. We'll discuss about it when we will discuss about the classification, proper classification of animal again. Okay. So here what we have seen in the symmetry, three different types. Okay, basically two different types, that is asymmetric and the symmetric. In asymmetric, we have seen the examples of the amoeba and adult snail. In case of symmetrical animal, we have seen three different types: universal, then radial symmetry, and the bilateral symmetry. Okay, students, I hope you are getting this. So another type of body plan we will discuss in the next part. Okay, thank you.